In battles between Soul Reapers and Hollows, to some extent being gigantic was its own advantage. However, it wasn't a universal superiority. Soul Reapers who were skilled enough, or who possessed a specific Zanpakuto ability, could defeat a Hollow 10 times larger than themselves. While Hollows, when they evolved from Gillian to Arhuchas to Vastolorde, would shrink in stature as their reishi condensed. In other words, for part of their growth, the smaller their bodies were, the more they were recognized as being powerful. However, the thing that appeared in the Rukongai had both a gigantic body, several times larger than a Menos Grande, as well as a spiritual pressure density reminiscent of a Vastolorde. When it took a step forward, the ground shrieked and tremored, and when it cried out, the atmosphere rumbled, with all surrounding life falling to a spiral of primordial fear.
Isn't this unfair? You're telling us we have to see you as the king, but you aren't even using your own power!
Yes, Ikomikidomoe fundamentally uses his own spiritual pressure to move, but if we really need to, we can combine and fight.
What the hell do you mean by combine? Is this thing some sort of mech? Is this thing a giant mech? What are you gonna do if that thing begins to go wild? You sure you have control over it?
Yes, that's nothing to worry about, because I'm just about as strong as Ikomikidomoe.
Hikone smiled as they used a single hand to catch one of Grimjow's arrows and snuff it out. As Grimjow and Lupi began to strike with high-power attacks with no regard for one another, Harribel stepped out of her Garganta. The scene she had walked into bewildered her.
What the hell is going on here? Is that Lupi? And is that the Soul Reaper child from before? So Grimjow's aim really was that Soul Reaper. But what are those Quincy's doing here? They're not the ones we battled in Hueco Mundo.
She distanced herself to better observe the situation.
I'm not sure. I think they're also part of the group who served Yuhabak at least. But I want to know what's going on with that monster.
I remember that spiritual pressure. It's the same as the one from the Zanpakuto that the Soul Reaper used to open the Garganta.
So basically that thing is the Zanpakuto from earlier? It's shaped pretty differently. Did it achieve Bankai like Ichigo? Or does it make more sense to call it Resurrección since it's more like us?
Harribel continued to observe the situation. However, the monster noticed her and opened its cavernous maw.
Ah, new friends. Of course, I don't recognize you. It does not seem to be Paragon's mistresses.
Its voice struck everyone's skulls like an eerie bass echoing directly into their heads.
You know Baragon? So that thing really is a hollow.
I'm more concerned about being thought of as Baragon's mistress. For starters, Baragon is long gone.
Hearing that, the monster paused.
Ikomikidomoe, what's wrong?
I see. So that crafty king has disappeared from Hueco Mundo.
Ikomikidomoe went silent for a moment, then bellowed across the Rakongai. Its voice made the atmosphere quiver, and that quiver became a gale. As the wind gathered, tornadoes of high-density spiritual pressure formed one after another. It triggered a new level of mayhem. Somewhere in the Seirete, passageway in a concealed quarter, a section of the Seirete that only aristocrats could enter had been transformed into a battleground. Sui-Feng dodged her opponent while ascertaining that in all likelihood, Tokinada had caused the skirmish, so that he could take advantage of the chaos to hatch a scheme. However, Tokinada didn't assault her, and didn't even try running away as he swung at the assassins. The sword Tokinada gripped only looked like an asauchi. One of the assassins waved their shikai and several fireballs appeared around the blade and began to assault Tokinada. As he did, Tokinada flashed his blade and the flame was sent flying back like a ball rebounding off a wall. The fireball reversed course and crashed into the original owner, causing them to burst into flames.
It's just, I don't think that Tokinada's Zanpakuto ability just bounces back his opponent's attacks. His Zanpakuto was forfeited, and the one he's using now can only be held by the head of the family. In other words, it's the Tsunayashiro's family power itself that has acted as her trump card, and even serves as their symbol. It's the Zanpakuto that the four great noble clans have passed down from generation to generation. I thought it would be more like Muramasa, and have an absurd power like controlling another person's Zanpakuto.
The fact that a group as large as this has Zanpakuto without being Soul Reapers is a big problem.
Well, many Soul Reapers did just die in the war against the Quincy, so it must have caused the amount of thieves who take possession of ownerless Zanpakuto to rise en masse.
Oh, I was thinking that those aristocrats who hid during the war had just taken the opportunity to openly funnel Zanpakuto illegally.
It would be a disgrace to the Soul Society if aristocrats like that existed. Zanpakuto and such can change hands anywhere. It is not one's origins that matter, but one's actions, yes? I heard that was the case with the current Kenpachi as well. A thug who hadn't even gone to the academy rose up after stealing a sword from a Soul Reaper who had died in the Rokongai.
The Seirite, Kutsuwa Town. Kutsuwa Town acted as Squad 11's barracks. Hoodlums in Chihakusho strutted through the streets like they owned the place.
Kind of seems like there's a commotion in the first ward. Wonder if something happened.
Since the Stealth Force guys were running around and making a commotion, there might have been a big arrest. If I just knew where they went, I would have gone too. But unlike Omaida's security force, the Punishment Force guys are tight-lipped.
They passed through the barrack gates and headed into the training hall.
We've come back from our patrol, Captain.
All right.
What's gotten into you, Captain? You're never in your Hori past noon when there isn't a captain assembly to attend.
Yeah, I just got word from the head captain. He told me to get on my Hori and be ready to move at a moment's notice. I don't care about any dress code, but if I get to fight, then I won't complain.
The Rokongai.
The heck is that? What kind of nonsense have we stuck our necks into now?
The same thing we've been tangled up in since the very beginning, I think.
But at the start, all we were doing was blowing those Fullbringer guys away and nabbing them. Why are we getting caught up in a fight between the Distilled Meadows Grande Hollow Monster thing and the Ronkars?
She gestured at Harribel and Nelliel as she smashed a boulder that had been tossed up by the tornadoes with a thunderbolt.
Like, what are they even wearing? It's way too form-fitting.
Pot calling the kettle black, Candice.
In any case, we've got to get back to fighting the Goliath first, or we won't be able to do our job. Meni, create an opening for me.
Got it.
Meninia slowly moved toward the hollow's feet and hit herself in its blind spot. Then she flexed the muscles in her arms and used brute force to lift him, causing Ikomikidomoe to veer and skitter into the ground in response.
Ha! Good going. Leave the rest to me.
Candice shot successive lightning arrows, finishing with an electrocution, engulfing the area in a blinding light.
That was close. What's with these people? They aren't holding anything back even though I'm right here. Aren't those Quincy supposed to be Mayuri's footmen?
Well, right. It's not as if Mayuri actually cares about me or any other Soul Reaper. Hirako distanced himself even further and turned his eyes toward Ikomikidomoe, who had transformed into a ball. That's not good. Looks like those attacks didn't do much. In the next moment, the ball became surrounded with white mist, and countless small winged monsters appeared from within the mist. However, they were only small in comparison to Ikomikidomoe. They seemed like a horde of Arhuchas-level hollows soaring through the sky. The horde leapt at Meninia and Candice. I was wrong to think that this thing was a giant mech. He's more like an entire country on legs. A frontal attack won't take down something like that.
What kind of Zanpakuto is that? Can that thing even be called a Zanpakuto?
This could be bad.
The two of them were shooting Hylic File at the horde, but there were too many of them. Meninia used her strength while Candice used her lightning and Galvano javelin lances in each hand, but the monsters were being continuously created with a speed faster than they could handle.
Damn it! If we could just use our Volstandic abilities. Guess we really poked the hornet's nest.
She began to unleash another electrocution.
Don't bother. You'll just end up burning through all your blood arteria before you get anywhere.
Huh?
Before Candice could comprehend the familiar voice, a long jaw appeared and ate through the monster horde, swallowing up about 100 of them in one gulp.
Same as those skeleton guys from before. Mass-produced goods just taste bland.
Lil?
Seriously, we were planning on getting you out by taking advantage of the commotion. What were you thinking, going straight into attack it yourselves? Why do I even bother?
Why are you here? There's no way you came here just to save us.
Like I said, we came here to get you out. You've got to listen when other people are talking, you slut.
Wait, you're really alive. I heard you betrayed His Majesty.
Don't call that ass His Majesty. He's not around anymore anyway.
Whoa, you're in rougher shape than I expected. How can you look so lame, Candice?
GG.
Candice sent an angry fist flying at Giselle, who dodged with a fake smile.
Boo. Don't say it like that. I don't want my name in your mouth for that long.
It's your own fault for upsetting her, Gigi.
Wait a sec. Why are you acting all normal, Meni? That's weird. It feels like I'm the only one who hasn't gotten the memo.
If you've got complaints, I'll pretend to listen to you later once we've gotten some lunch. We've got to deal with that danger first.
The horde of monsters had continued to gush from the white mist, circling the girls from afar as though they were analyzing their new opponent's abilities.
Huh? Why have we got to do anything? Can't we just run away?
That's what I was hoping to do. But we can't run if Candy and Meni have bombs hidden in them, right?
Oh!
You're listening, aren't you, Mayuri Kurotsuchi? We'll cooperate with your experiment or whatever. Just pay us back by letting Candice and Meninia go.
A voice resonated from Candice's cap.
Good grief. You must be quite conceited to believe you are in any position to be making deals with me.
What?
First of all, I have not hidden a bomb or anything like that in them. Those Luddites, head captain and Center 46, informed me just the other day that putting bombs into my subordinates was for some reason forbidden. And since I called my zombies a unit, they told me I have to treat them as soldiers rather than tools. Really, they're being way too coddling.
So they haven't gotten any bombs hidden in them. That must mean you've loaded them with other stuff instead, right?
I wonder. At any rate, you Quincy's are antiques now. I don't intend to destroy you so casually.
Hey! Can you stop talking in riddles?
As Liltotto continued her exchange with Mayuri, she swallowed any monsters that occasionally attacked to keep them in check.
What we want is Candice and Meninia's freedom and the guarantee of their lives. You'll be able to make a deal with some of the most battle-worthy Quincy's. Not too shabby, right?
That your hubris extends that far is beyond comical. It simply makes me pity you. Though you are antiques, to me you Quincy's are just test subjects I have finished my research on. Do you really think you are that valuable?
If Quincy's are so worthless, then you could let go of Candy and Meni for free, couldn't you? Though I think they're at least worth keeping around for chores. Plus, I know who I'm talking to. You hid something in me and Gigi as well, didn't you?
Huh?
Oh, you're a fool, but I don't dislike those who are quick to pick up on the conversation. Unlike the Ishida Quincy who had not a clue.
Sure, thanks. I'm praying you're quick to pick up on things too.
If I say no right now, you intend to take the negotiations up with Head Captain Kyoraku, do you not? Good grief. Had Shinji Hirako not been here, I could have shut you up in secret.
Obviously, I went out of my way to show my face because there was another squad captain around.
Very shrewd indeed. My, oh my.
I already got my fill of finding out how treacherous you are. In particular, I can't help but wonder what Yuhavak was thinking not designating you a special war threat.
Obviously, flattery won't bring me to compromise. Well, it is true that your ringleader had tunnel vision. Even though he could see the future, it seemed he was unable to see reality. I want as much data on that gigantic fantastical Zanpakuto and the Soul Reaper type research subject standing on top of it as you can gather. If you do that for me, I'll at least promote you from experimental subjects to mercenaries. If you're also able to catch the Fullbringers, I'll even make you taller as a special bonus.
Who cares about that? The bigger you are, the faster you get hungry. Basically, all we've got to do is beat that Goliath, right?
I'm not expecting that much from you. If it were something the likes of you could defeat, I wouldn't concern myself with it in the first place.
You're underestimating us. You are as well, aren't you, Goliath?
Hey, Lil, I really don't like this. Why would we help that checkerboard-faced clown?
Have your brains finally rotted, zombie girl? The one I made the deal with is that glutton. I never expected you to be useful in battle anyway, so feel free to fester on the sidelines.
I'd rather not take advice from someone who just swiped another person's zombies.
Put it behind you. He's not someone you'll win against in an argument anyway. We've got to shut that giant thing down before we can do anything else.
But go get him, Bambi.
Yeah, I'll work hard. Because Candy and Meni are here with us.
The battlefield then became engulfed in explosive red fire. The Reishi she let loose made contact with the monsters that Ikomikidomoe was creating and transformed their bodies into bombs. The resulting chain explosion hit Hirako with hot wind.
It's that bomb girl! Why'd you bring that nuisance here? Aw, she's so reckless! Well, I guess I've got to start considering my next moves.
Since Momo's probably already told Kyoraku, it'd be good if I saw some movement already.
Oh, whoa. This looks like it's escalating.
I think that would be our chance to retreat if we wanted to, wouldn't it?
That was what I was intending. But that kid said something about being recognized as the king, right?
I see. So that's what's on your mind?
Yes. It's about execution. According to the folks who died recently, the execution cult supposedly already has several 100,000 believers. But I can't help but think there's a Fullbringer or Soul Reaper involved.
In the shadow of chaos spanning 1,000 years, a new king shall be born to reign over each of the three worlds.
Well then, I guess it's about time for people with power like us to join in.
Ginjo turned his eyes to Hikone and noticed one of the Quincy's approaching the child, propelling herself using the explosions.
Yo, kiddo. You said your name was Hikone Ubuginu, didn't you?
Oh, you're one of the Quincy's who was in Hueco Mundo last time, aren't you? It's nice to see you again. It's amazing that you're eating Ikomikidomoe's followers. I'm glad I could meet you again.
I'd rather have not run into you again. So, you were saying you were supposed to become king?
Yes. Oh, well, to be more correct, I'm not becoming the king so much as Lord Tokinada is going to make me the king.
So on top of being a hand-me-down, you're just a puppet king? Is there not anything you yourself want to do?
There is! What I want to do is be useful to Lord Tokinada.
So if your pal Tokinada ordered you to die a painful death, would you actually go and die?
Yes, and I do my best to suffer while I do it.
Uh-huh, I see. Crap, just talking about this is making me feel like I'm losing my mind. This kid's as crazy a fanatic as Lie was. No, the kid's a little different from Lie. It's not fanaticism, so what is it? It's like the kid was made this way from the start. There's something I want to ask you. Have you heard the name Gremmy Tumu before?
Gremmy Tumu was a boy who was said to be the strongest Sternritter. He was a Quincy whose body was a brain floating in a container, and who had created a flesh body by imagining one through his V-Schrift, the Visionary. He could convert what he imagined into reality, but in the end, he ended up bringing about his own downfall when he had imagined a power that would outstrip Kenpachi Zaraki, but was unable to imagine a body that could bear that power. Because of that, his brain could no longer function, and his spiritual pressure ceased. Liltotto didn't know what happened to the container holding his brain after that, and she hadn't intended to find out where it went. But she felt Gremmy's spiritual pressure coming from Hikone.
Gremmy. Someone named Mr. Gremmy? Oh, yes, I do know that name. Lord Tokinada told me about that.
What?
Mr. Gremmy was one of the people used as an ingredient to make me. Imagine that.